All right. Welcome to the internNE powered by Aksarben podcast. I'm Shonna Dorsey with the Aksarben Foundation. And today I'm here with no co-host, as you can see, but with a special guest. And can you tell us who you are?
Yeah, my name is Jay-Boi Robinson, Mr. Big Schemes. It's your boy.
I'm sorry, you say Mr. Big Schemes?
Big Schemes.
I like it.
Big Schemes. A lot of people who who's ran into me at different periods in my career I've had these different slogans, these different aliases, these different little things. So
yes,
Big Schemes, Mr. 250.
Okay,
all kind of craziness. Kids call me 250. Mr. Jay-Boi 50, Jay-Boi Miss 50 Robinson, all kind of craziness. So
I love it. Okay, so I met you about 7 years ago, and I think at that time, were you a student or were you probably had graduated high school at that point, but you were kind of working on getting your business started. Is that right?
Yeah, when you met me, I was probably about a good 2.5, 3 years out of high school.
Okay.
And I had just dropped out of college at the time, and I was looking for better avenues and better resources to try to better my life. And the only thing I knew was music at the time.
Yeah.
So when we first kind of connected, it was because I did this kind of pilot, if you will, program where I had my studio equipment in my mom's basement, and I had a couple of young mentees I was working with who I would come and let them hang out and do music for me, you know, or with me or whatever the case may be. And turns out that, you know, right around that time, I had a good friend who was, you know, really trying to establish and get a 501c3 started for me so I could actually get off the ground and move. So we finally established in 2018. And that was right around the times where you met me. Everything was super small. We were just kind of using our small network that we had at the time. Still somewhat a small team of 2, 3, 4 now. So, you know, as we continue to grow, we're making slow strides. We're making slow strides. Go ahead.
No, you go.
I mean, I think you got it.
Okay, got it. Okay, so one of the things that I really appreciate about you and why I wanted to bring you onto the Intern podcast is because you are doing a lot of work with students, and that's important and meaningful to you. But can you talk to us about, or to me about, why that's important for you, and then some of the resources and guidance you're providing to these young artists?
I think it's important. So we started off, again, we were just trying to do something cool with a couple of youths that, you know, had the same passion. Maybe we could teach them a couple of skills, and then that turned into resume building and trying to get them some real statues under their name. I started off as the kid who was known for doing the music. That's how everything pretty much started for me. I told you a while back, late 90s, I'm a 90s baby, so late 90s, early 2000s, toys weren't really a thing for me. It turned into cassette tapes and, you know, little DVD, CD players. It turned into, you know, technology, in which now I'm somewhat of a tech-savvy guy. Right? So, you know, I was using those skills at the time, not only to improve my artistry and what I wanted to become as a person, but I was using it to influence other people and to see what, you know, what possibly can someone else unlock within themselves by some of the tools that work for me. And, you know, I think throughout the time, you know, having more resources and being able to have more people on board, that expanded things, and now we are maximizing on the impact of changing young lives through the empowerment of music and art all around at this point. You know, we just started doing studio stuff, and then that turned into different forms of art. And who do we have in the community doing this art programming that we can get in touch with so that we can expose some of the kids from North O to these ventures? Because I was one of those kids who had no clue about, you know, hot shops or the Union or these different places. I had no clue because in school they weren't talking about it. And it wasn't like, you know, some of the programs that are further out was coming to my schools. So we didn't know about these things. And again, I wanted to be able to not only connect people, but use the tools I got to show young people like, hey, you could get a chance to get some type of self-discovery just like I did.
Yeah.
And it might work out for you for the better. And you ain't got to be on the streets.
Yes.
You can go do whatever you want to do, So
right.
That's how we continue to kind of drive the mission for what we're doing. And that help brings people in. But I think we're in a position now where more so than ever, we're wanting a team of collective people who could, bring forth their missions and what they have, and maybe even, partner more so with us now that we're making some new expansions and we have a bright 2025 coming up. So we can get into that.
Yeah, that's really exciting. And then just like you said, and we talk about this in different industries. I work on the tech collaborative as well, as you know. And one of our big things that we know makes a huge difference is when students and even educators, but let's talk about students for now, but when students have access to people that are actually doing this work for a living and can see like, wow, that is a true career path for me. And like you said, there are resources available right in this city and people who want me to be successful, but we have to be intentional as business leaders like you are about making these connections for youth because it just doesn't happen naturally. It's like you have to be intentional about it.
Yeah, I think also what's important for them to understand is that just because college might not be for you or you might not have a lane, that might not be your lane, that doesn't mean that you could skip the line. There's still a certain type of acquired knowledge you have to have in order to obtain a certain level of success. And so I understood that very early on. So though maybe college did not work out for me, that doesn't mean that there's not something that I need to learn along the lines, and I go dive in those books and I go pay for those classes and make sure I get the acquired knowledge that I need to take the next step. Some people, they care about the letters. I care more so about the numbers. I want numbers behind my name more than anything. And as any entrepreneur, who especially coming from nothing the way I did, the most thing they're going to care about is what numbers are behind, my name. Right. And so that's kind of the mission I've been getting people to understand, especially young people. But the problem is I think it gets misconstrued with, okay, well, I don't need to learn anything. Right. That's not the case. You still have to get what we call acquired knowledge. Take the time to go find something that you need to learn that's going to improve your scenario, that's going to improve your situation, that's going to make you better fit to be a provider for yourself, for your family, for your community, for generations to come. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. And I just like thinking too about, let's just talk about artists, for example, that it's really great to be a well-rounded person who can run a business too. So you're a creative person, but you also know how to monetize that artistry, if that makes sense. And not if that makes sense, I know it makes sense to you, but that's part of what you're working on as well, right? And just helping artists be able to do that. I had a group of musicians in the studio a couple nights ago, and he's like, oh yeah, if we had these, we were trying to hear playback from the studio room, and we wanted everybody to selectively hear. He's like, man, if we had those wireless mic hookups, man. And I'm like, all right, let me see. I'm going to go on Amazon, and I started looking it up, and I'm like, I mean, they really only like $300-400. I could, whoop-de-whoop. And he like, Jay-Boi, you don't have to do everything on your own, right? And it's like I've been in that position for so long. I think people have to understand in organizations, when you're trying to take the lead and get into entrepreneurship, you have to develop a team of masterminds. You have to develop a group of people that you can call on to find the answers you need. Right. Because you're not going to know everything. Right. It's really, it's a great way to lead yourself to burnout. So, yeah. Yes. So we have just like a minute left. This time goes so fast. But the final question I have for you is just talk about, and this might go more than 10 minutes, which is okay, but on the youth front, can you just talk to us a bit more about what you're doing there and about how people can support what you're working on? Yeah, we're JPYD, Jay-Boi Production Youth Development, has been 501c3 certified since 2018. We're currently still seeking all kinds of funding to provide for our programs. We have different programs that range between $50,000 to $60,000 curriculum-based programs. So, we're avidly looking for partners. We're avidly looking for people. We have a new program, Express Yourself, coming 2025. That's going to introduce kids to studio life, recording, mixing, mastering, all kind of things. And that's going to be great. Even having a studio aura, if you will, which leads me to the next ventures, our sister company, Aura, aka Omaha Recording Academy.
Okay.
In which we've just solidified all the deals to make sure that the 4,000 square foot space is going to be suitable enough to be able to run that programming. But also, we're still looking for partnerships in that area as well. Investors, partnerships, the whole nine. We have about, well, we can get into all the numbers, but if we're thinking about what's going to take to get that completely launched, at the moment, everything has been bootstrapped. You know, I've been making sure that I've keeping my ears to the ground, keeping my nose to the streets to find out what opportunities may not only best fit me and my artistry, but my companies and my program as well. So for those people who would like to take the time to contribute in any way, we would accept any and all parties involved in that. So
I love it. And just one more thing for people to think about, and then we'll wrap this up. But when you're able to help, let's just say an individual who is a creative, do more, they are able to then hire other resources and other skill sets to help really build them up. So it can turn into a job creation model on its own with a single artist who is successful.
For sure. Within the program that we've created, it kind of enables students who are, you know, they kind of up in their ranks a little bit. It's going to enable them. And I've already had two people. We started the pilot program, but I've already had two people who they've made it to that point.
Yeah.
And they're talking to their friends, hiring their friends, and having their friends help them with making money off of different projects or different studio time, you know, different available studio time, things like that. So it's actually going to be a great segue to job readiness, career readiness, different things like that. It's going to be a great segue to that because, you know, we're already starting kinda.
Yes.
Right now we're starting kinda. You know, we're getting them to understand about the taxes and different things that might take place and to being identified as a taxable EIN artist. So, I mean, I think right now we're just in a good place of trial and error at the moment in terms of how we're going to execute the teen internship program, but it's definitely a need for that, and we see ourselves fitting that need, especially in the artist world when pertaining to music.
That's wonderful, and it's just great to have that type of opportunity available for young people in Omaha. So that's really incredible and important. And thank you for being here and sharing
Shonna,
more
I
info.
appreciate you.
Of course.
Thank you for having me on here.
Of course. Happy to have you.
It's been a long time, and it's so good to finally catch back up and connect and let you know all the things I've been working on and some of the future greatness.
Yes.
It's going to be hitting the fan soon.
More to come.
More to definitely to come. Big schemes. The big schemester is in the building. It's your boy. It's been a pleasure, though.
Absolutely.
It's been a very good pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.